Can you go into specifics about dynamic ad insertion? What is the turnaround time nowadays, and how much of it is addressable?
Uh, well, the difference between what we call baked in, where you have to build the program content with the paid ads and promos in it, and then deliver it, and then once it's up, it stays there for whatever the window is. To dynamically insert, the turnaround time could be as quick as 15 minutes. We've tested different systems. The main system out there, I've used it quite a bit, is Black Arrow, and their claim was you can, from the time you put into their system a new ad and change it, you'll see the change live in 15 minutes. We tested it, we actually saw it in 17 minutes, so it actually does work. What it does is it alleviates the need to deliver multiple versions of the content, particularly as schedule windows change. And also, it opens it up to much more more advertisers and promotional time, because you don't have to put generic kind of promos or paid ads in, and that way you can maximize the revenue potential with it.
How much of this dynamic ad inserted advertising is addressable?
Technically, it all can be addressable. The technology's out there. The technology it's been ready to go for a while. What the holding pattern is for addressable is getting this information from the MVPDs, whether it's a cable operator, telco. They have a great deal of information about their consumers and their households, but when you get into privacy issues, it's very difficult. The leading addressability factor has been zip codes and regions. If there's a particular area that's maybe a college town, or maybe that's a community or a neighborhood that's more with senior citizens, that has been the first step. But getting it addressable down to households based on who's in the household and income, theoretically it's ready to go now. It just hasn't been really put into practice yet.
So what are the pros and cons of addressability?
Well, obviously the pros are an advertiser can reach a particular household or a particular individual with the kind of ads that fit who they are and what they're interested in. The downside is it's hard to tell who's in a household who's actually watching. If you have say a family of 5, a mother, father, and 3 kids, you don't know who in that house is watching that show at any given time. So maybe if the dad's looking for a new car, but the kids are watching a show, maybe that ad is the addressability is not going to be relevant because you don't know who's watching in the house. You would need someone to basically log into every box that they're using and see who's using it. And again, that's where you get into really tough privacy issues, because then you're seeing what individuals watching what programs, and that makes people very nervous. And it could really kind of skew the demo, because if you're channel surfing and you see something that maybe doesn't fit what you normally would watch, and you watch that could skew the data, and it could skew the point of addressability.
EBIF was a burgeoning standard when I was at Rainbow about 5 years ago, and then I think it disappeared. What is the current status of EBIF? Where is it going?
From my limited understanding of it, there's still interest in it, and I think with the idea of where dynamic ad insertion is really coming strong on VOD, it's been on the web for a while. The concept of EBIF is coming back again, at least in conversations. The challenge with it again is that it creates a situation where somebody has to interact. There are still the lean back people who just want to sit and watch. The lean to people where you have to pick up the remote and hit the button. And people get nervous because if I hit the button, is it going to interrupt my programming? Is it going to interrupt the experience? The stats back when Cablevision was doing it, there were certain things where I remember they would give like a free sample of something. Things that they thought would take 2 to 3 months to fulfill were filled in 2 weeks. Where some of the campaigns where you would get a mailing with more information just kind of laid there. So I think it's like anything. If you offer something that people are interested in, they're going to interact. If it's just for more information, they think they're going to get a phone call, they're not going to do it. So I think you have to be smart as far as what kind of campaigns there are. Here in New York, I still see New York One does polls where you can hit your button, which is still a form of EBIF. You're interacting with your TV, so it's still out there in that kind of form, and on maybe some of the news stations. But I think the marketers need to really look at how they're going to use it and to use it smartly. I don't think it's going to be a widespread thing, but I think if done right, it could be a very impactful marketing campaign.